Holy crap, that's the gold ink, you guys, on my finger. Hello crafty cuties! I'm so excited for today's video and I hope that you are too. Today we are going to try out some of the $1.99 bin items at Joann's. These have been on sale the last week or so at 40% off, which makes them $1.09 a piece. I got my hands on 3 of the inks. There's a gold pigment ink and there are 2 dye inks. I have this pink and blue. And I got 2 of the stamp sets, which also are $1.09. Super excited to try these out. We're gonna hop right in, and I'm going to start out. I am going to use my Stamp Perfect, just in case the stamps don't work perfect the first time. Some stamps do need to be somewhat primed, and I really wanna give you a good idea of how well these work. So I'm going to start with the floral stamps here. Going to open this up. We will use the pink and blue for the stamps, and then I'm going to use the gold for the lettering because since this is a pigment ink, it's going to work best if we use some embossing powder with it. So I have gold embossing powder here. Okay, I'm going to bring this over so we can go ahead. So this does have a kind of hard surface here. So I can tell you from the start that this ink pad is really, really juicy. I don't know, I'm not used to that from the dye inks that I have, but I mean, who knows? That might not mean much, and maybe it's because these stamps haven't been used before. So we'll go ahead and use them a couple times to get a good idea of what they were really. So yeah, I'm not too impressed with that. As you can see, it's super splotchy because like I said, it's really juicy, and that's not too typical for a dye ink that I know of. But dye inks do tend to kind of even out after the drying time. So I will definitely give you guys an idea of what it's going to look like at the end. It is a really pretty color. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty splotchy. I think it looks okay, but I'm gonna go ahead and wash these off and then we'll get the leaves going. Okay, now it's time to go ahead and try out the blue. It's kind of like a turquoise. You can even see when you're pressing down that it's pretty blotchy, like even through the door here. Let's go ahead and stamp. Okay, so hopefully you can get a good idea of what that is like. Just a little side note, when you first get clear stamps, if you find that ink is not sticking, not because of the ink, but because of the stamp, you can prime your stamps by either stamping it into Versamark embossing ink, Versamark watermark, I think that's what it's called, or you can also go like this and just rub it on your palms. So like I said, I really think that this issue is because of the inks, but at the end I'm going to kind of prime those and I'll give you a good idea. Now we are going to use the gold, so I will be embossing these. I'm not going to show the whole process, but I'm going to pull out some of the letter stamps here. This looks a little bit more opaque. Looks like it's covering a little bit more of the stamp. For sure, there's definitely a big difference, and I already had a good idea that this gold was probably going to work good because I've mentioned a couple times the eclectic crafter here on YouTube did a video showing how good the gold was, and I'm feeling like, dang, I wish I would have picked up, there's a silver that's like this and it's also a pigment ink. Now, this stamped pretty good, but I don't know, it didn't really cover, so I'm gonna do a second time. Now, if you don't have a stamping tool, you know, I don't know, this ink might not be something that you want unless you don't mind working with it. I gotta say that this gold is pretty, it's hard to tell, but it's pretty shimmery. So that's really cool. So I'm gonna stamp this one more L here. So I'm just gonna pour this over the hello. I can't believe how crooked I did that hello. That's okay. I am going to go ahead and emboss this with my heating tool and I'll be right back. Okay, so we are back with some results. Here is the embossed hello, and you guys, that embossed beautifully. So I also went ahead and did some testing with the stamps to see if the ink was maybe being thrown off because we had new stamps. So ignore this. So here is our row of stamps after I took the stamps and I kind of conditioned them. I keep saying, I forget what the actual word is, but you can see it's still pretty splotchy. Now I messed up down here because I didn't clean the red all the way off, so you can ignore that. I still feel like the gold is a little bit more opaque, but it's still a little splotchy as far as first time stamping goes, but it works really well when it's embossed. But first, let me show you. I wanted to do a little smudge test to see if we could maybe use these inks for ink blending, because I do try to use my products, if they don't work for one thing, try them for another, and they may work. I don't typically like to use dye inks for ink blending, but you can. It's just personal preference. And then again, I messed up on the gold because I was trying to use one of my ink daubers for all 3 colors. I don't have a new one of these. I think that the gold will work for ink blending, but I really actually like it for stamping, embossing to be specific. Over here, I was just trying some of my other dye inks in my stash, and I just wanted to kind of compare. You can see a difference, I would think. These are all assorted inks. This red right here was a Ranger ink, and these 2, I believe, are Hero Arts. This is like an ombre ink, but they're all dye inks, and you can see, like, this red especially is super smooth. These 2 are a little blotchy, but not as much as these. I wanted to give you guys a better look at the gold after I dipped back in. It is really pretty, and I feel like you really can't see it on camera, but it is just really shiny on its own. That's without embossing that middle sample that I'm showing you that, yeah, has some red in it, but I think you can see how amazing the gold is, so I hope you guys can grab it. What in the world? That is really, really great quality ink. Holy crap, that's the gold ink, you guys, on my finger. I would say I think that these stamps are definitely worth the $1 and more so, if anything. I love these stamps, and I would highly recommend getting your hands on as many as you can. I think they stamp out really well. I actually tested out the gold ones, or sorry, the alpha ones with some other inks, and they stamped out really super opaque, so the stamps are really great. I would say that the inks are hit and miss. However, this gold, you guys, and I assume the silver would be similar, but I don't know for sure. But yes, specifically this gold pigment ink is amazing, and I really, really like the results. I didn't have a good gold ink. Of course, this is embossed, so it's not just the ink by itself, but it embossed really great, and you guys saw how well it looked even before we embossed it. I think that these are some really great products to try out for $1 or so, and if you guys want to see more test it out videos, let me know. I was thinking about doing a video on the $1.99 bin adhesives, if I can get my hand on a few more, because there were probably like 4 or 5 different adhesives, and maybe we can do a test on that. Let me know if you like this video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!